Welcome to the 2007-2008 32-team franchise. This is the Dallas Cowboys season recap. Them boys were 10-6, first place in the NFC East. This was a very strong team, and again, they did a great job moving into the playoffs. They were the division winner and beat the wild card Minnesota Vikings, but then lost in the divisional round to the New Orleans Saints, who then lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in the championship game. Here's Tony Romo, 3,000 passing yards, 31 passing touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, and he had over 100 rushing yards throughout the season. Romo had some good options. There's Sam Hurd right there making the big play. Just bouncing up, got the touchdown anyways. Terrell Owens was a big-time player here with 716 receiving yards, 9 receiving touchdowns. Did battle some injuries, which allowed Miles Austin to get more playing time and more highlights. Terrell Owens did retire at the end of the season, so I was disappointed in that. I was really looking forward to more years with T.O., and didn't realize I needed to make him younger to bypass the retirement. But there he is, making some big plays. Look at that. A juke, a spin, all the way to the end zone. Then he boasts a little bit. And actually on that play, he did get injured. He got injured in the end zone, so he boasted, got the touchdown, got hurt. But he was fine. He ended up coming back in. There's Terry Glenn, 584 receiving yards, 8 receiving touchdowns. And he did stay for the next season, so he was someone that was the number 2 receiver. And to replace Terrell Owens, Torrey Holt from the St. Louis Rams was a free agent, and I just threw money his way to be a Dallas receiver, and he ended up coming over here to the Dallas Cowboys. I figured replace a veteran receiver in T.O. with a veteran receiver in Torrey Holt. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in the blue and silver. And because Terrell Owens was typically guarded very well, there are a lot of moments for Terry Glenn. But look at that one. He beats 2 defenders for the catch, breaks a tackle, runs in for a touchdown. There's some more highlights of Terry Glenn. And as I said before, due to some injuries, Miles Austin had more playing time and more receptions. There he is with 496 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, 28 receptions. And there he is making a beautiful juke move here. Tripping into the end zone. Some more big plays there. Again, I love that camera view. They also drafted Andre Caldwell in the 2008 NFL draft to allow themselves to get another receiving option. I know Andre Caldwell was drafted by the Bengals in the original draft, but when we were going through trying to figure out how to polish this Dallas Cowboys team, I want to get that young receiver, especially with T.O. retiring and then Torrey Holt being a veteran receiver. There's Jason Witten with 607 receiving yards, 5 receiving touchdowns. I was hoping I'd have more yards and more plays with him, but it just didn't happen, but it didn't really matter because they still won enough games to make the playoffs. There's Marion Barber with over 1,000 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns. He was a very dynamic player, some big runs there. Unfortunately, I did not draft Felix Jones. Felix Jones ended up going to the New England Patriots, but the Dallas Cowboys did draft Mike Jenkins, the cornerback, and then with the Cleveland Browns pick, on the 20th overall pick, that's how they got that pick from Cleveland because of the Brady Quinn trade, ended up drafting Ryan Clady, the offensive tackle that originally went to Denver. So they went O-line in the first round to help Romo, to help their running game, and then they went with their defensive back, Mike Jenkins, like they did in the real draft. So Felix Jones slipped, but they ended up keeping both Marion Barber and Jones, which you'll see some highlights from him, I think, a little bit later, who is the second running back for Dallas. Very solid runner. Good running back number 2. Because I know many teams that I've played with, some of them did not have a good backup running back. But Julius Jones was a decent replacement when Barber needed a rest. And there he is now, Julius Jones, number 21. More of a pass-catching running back. Now we look at their rankings. They were the 28th ranked offense in yards, which I was surprised. I thought they would have done better. 27th in total passing yards. When we look at their rushing, they were only 20th. And then points per game, they were 14th. So I thought their offense was more impressive than they were, but at least they were able to win those games. I mean, they were 5th in defense and least yards allowed. They were 2nd in least passing yards allowed. And then they were 23rd in least rushing yards allowed. But it was their defense that was probably the strongest point. And I look at least points allowed, 3rd, which was largely due to their victories. So there it is, the 10-6 Dallas Cowboys, them boys. They ended up going to the divisional round, and that was about it.